What happens when two officers try to harass a man, only to realize they picked the wrong guy? This is a story of justice, leadership, and redemption. In the peaceful neighborhood of Oakwood, something significant was about to change. Daniel Matthews had just moved in 2 days earlier, blending in like any ordinary resident on an evening walk. But Daniel was far from ordinary. He was the new chief of police, set to take charge on Monday. As he strolled down the quiet streets, two officers, Baldwin and Carter, spotted him. Known for throwing their weight around and targeting certain residents, they stopped Daniel, demanding his ID and even taking cash from his wallet. Calm and composed, Daniel stood his ground. But just as the situation escalated, Chief Adamson, the outgoing precinct head, arrived. The officers froze as the truth hit them. This wasn't just any man. It was their new boss. What followed was a powerful lesson about respect, accountability, and second chances. As Daniel's quiet strength began to change the culture of Oakwood's police force for good. Dressed simply in a blue shirt and jeans, Daniel Matthews seemed like any other man enjoying an evening walk. To the outside world, he was just another new neighbor in Oakwood, a peaceful, tight-knit community. But Daniel was anything but ordinary. Though he kept a low profile, there was more to him than met the eye. In just 2 days, he would be introduced as Oakwood's new chief of police, a man known for his integrity, fairness, and unwavering commitment to justice. Having earned a stellar reputation in his previous city, Daniel was ready to bring about change, not through force or authority, but by leading with respect and honor. Little did the residents of Oakwood know, a new chapter was about to begin, one where their chief would not only enforce the law, but also rebuild trust and respect in the very system meant to protect them. As Daniel strolled down the quiet street, two officers, Blake Baldwin and Rick Carter, spotted him from their patrol car. Known for their harsh treatment of certain residents, especially those they deemed out of place, the officers couldn't resist taking action. Without hesitation, Baldwin stepped out of the car, a sly grin creeping across his face as Carter followed suit. They approached Daniel, blocking his path. "Evening, sir," Baldwin said, his tone far from friendly. "You live around here?" Daniel, keeping his composure, gave a polite nod. "Yes, just moved in. Beautiful town you've got here." But Baldwin wasn't buying it. "You sure you belong in this part of town?" he sneered, sizing Daniel up with an almost mocking look. Daniel stayed calm. "Yes, officer, I'm sure." Carter, growing impatient, stepped closer. "How about showing us some ID, huh? We just want to make sure you're not up to anything shady." Without missing a beat, Daniel sighed, knowing the drill all too well. He reached into his wallet, handing them his ID. Baldwin snatched it away, barely glancing at it, then something caught his eye. A small stack of cash in Daniel's wallet. With a quick motion, Baldwin grabbed it, fanning out the bills in his hand like he had just uncovered something suspicious. "What's this?" Baldwin asked, his voice dripping with mock curiosity. "Where'd you get this much cash, Mr. New Neighbor?" Daniel's patience was wearing thin, but he kept his tone even and calm. "I suggest you give that back." Baldwin chuckled, his grin widening. "Oh, really? And what if I don't?" The situation was escalating, but Daniel refused to lose his cool. "I've tried being polite, officers. I'd appreciate it if you'd return my money and let me continue my evening." But Baldwin and Carter didn't back down. Instead, they stuffed the bills into their own pockets, clearly enjoying the power they held in this moment. Just as the tension reached its peak, the sound of another car pulling up cut through the air. The officers froze, their smug expressions faltering. The car door opened, and out stepped Chief Adamson, the outgoing head of Oakwood's precinct. He'd been doing a routine patrol and had driven by just in time to witness the scene. Chief Adamson's stern gaze quickly assessed the situation, his eyes narrowing as he looked from Daniel to the two officers. Officers Baldwin, Carter, what exactly is going on here? The officers immediately stiffened, their confidence crumbling under the weight of Adamson's presence. They stammered, stepping away from Daniel as they tried to come up with an explanation. We were just making sure everything was fine, sir," Baldwin mumbled, clearly uneasy. Adamson didn't buy it for a second. His eyes locked onto Daniel, then back to the two officers, his voice sharp with authority. "Daniel Matthews, it's a pleasure to see you," he said warmly, completely ignoring Baldwin and Carter's stunned expressions. "Oakwood is lucky to have you as our new chief." The air shifted, heavy with the realization dawning on Baldwin and Carter. This wasn't just any man they'd been harassing. This was their new boss. As Chief Adamson's words sank in, Baldwin and Carter's faces drained of color. Their smirks vanished, replaced by wide-eyed shock as the realization hit them like a ton of bricks. They had just harassed and stolen from their new chief of police. Baldwin's hand, still hovering near his pocket where the cash had been stashed, twitched nervously. Carter shifted uncomfortably, avoiding eye contact with Daniel, knowing he had just crossed a line he couldn't take back. Chief Adamson's gaze was cold and unwavering. Would it have mattered if he wasn't the chief? His voice was firm, every word measured. "You swore an oath to serve and protect, not harass and steal." The silence that followed was deafening. Baldwin and Carter stood frozen, caught in their own wrongdoing. They couldn't speak, couldn't justify their actions. The weight of their mistake hung heavily in the air, and they could feel the sting of Adamson's words as they processed the enormity of their error. Daniel, on the other hand, stood there with a calm composure that made his presence even more powerful. He didn't raise his voice or show anger, yet his quiet strength was undeniable. "Respect isn't optional," he said, his voice steady, but carrying an unmistakable authority. "You are here to protect everyone in this community, not to intimidate or exploit them, and that includes me." His words landed with precision, each one a reminder of the responsibility that came with wearing the badge. The officers stood speechless, unable to find words to defend themselves, feeling the weight of their actions pressing down on them. Daniel's calm but powerful words left them no room to argue, and they couldn't shake the embarrassment of their mistake. In that moment, it wasn't just the officers who felt a shift. It was the entire culture of Oakwood's police force that would be changed, starting right then and there. Monday morning arrived with a tense air in the precinct. Whispers of the weekend's incident had already spread, and Baldwin and Carter knew they couldn't hide from the consequences of their actions. They entered the station, their shoulders heavy with dread, knowing their mistake had cost them far more than just a few moments of embarrassment. At 9 a.m., they found themselves seated across from Chief Adamson and Daniel Matthews in a small meeting room, the weight of their error hanging thick in the air. Chief Adamson began the meeting with a stern but calm voice. "Officers Baldwin and Carter, your actions on Friday night were not just unacceptable. They were a betrayal of the very oath you swore when you became officers." He paused, allowing the words to sink in. "Your behavior not only disrespected Chief Matthews, but it undermined the trust of the community we are here to serve." Baldwin and Carter shifted uncomfortably in their seats, clearly aware of the gravity of the situation. Baldwin attempted to explain himself, but Adamson cut him off. "Does it matter who he was?" he asked, his tone cutting through any attempt at justification. "Your duty is to respect and protect every citizen, no matter who they are, and you failed." Daniel, calm and resolute, added his voice to the conversation. "I came here to work with all of you to build a better, stronger department," he said, his gaze steady. "But if we can't trust each other, how can we expect the community to trust us?" The room fell silent, the officers' heads hanging low as they took in the full weight of their actions. Then Chief Adamson laid down their punishment. "Effective immediately. You are both suspended without pay for a month," he stated. "During that time, you will attend sensitivity and conduct training. When you return, I expect you to remember what it truly means to wear this badge." Baldwin and Carter nodded solemnly, their faces flushed with shame. They knew they deserved the consequences, but that didn't make the punishment any easier to accept. As they prepared to leave the room, Daniel spoke once more, his voice firm but fair. "I believe in second chances," he said. "Use this time to reflect on your actions. And when you return, wear the badge with honor. Not just for yourself, but for the community we serve." The officers, humbled and regretful, left the room with a sense of resolve. They knew the road to redemption would be long, but they also understood the importance of earning back the trust they had lost. Daniel's leadership wasn't just about enforcing the law. It was about guiding others to become better, not through punishment alone, but through reflection, understanding, and the belief that anyone could change if given the opportunity. Weeks passed, and the changes were undeniable. Baldwin and Carter returned to work after their suspension, visibly humbled and eager to make things right. Their actions on the job reflected the lessons they had learned during their time off: respect, integrity, and the understanding that their badge wasn't a symbol of power, but of service. As time went on, the entire Oakwood precinct began to shift. Officers held themselves to higher standards, and the culture of respect and integrity grew stronger. Daniel's leadership inspired the department to focus on what truly mattered: building trust with the community. Under his guidance, the precinct wasn't just about enforcing the law. It became a place where people could feel safe, valued, and respected. Daniel's impact was clear. Trust between the community and the precinct was rebuilt, and Oakwood began to feel like a place where justice wasn't just a concept, but a way of life. It was a new chapter, and Daniel Matthews had started it. This story teaches us a powerful lesson. Justice isn't just about punishment, it's about change. It's about the ability to recognize mistakes, take responsibility, and grow from them. Daniel Matthews' leadership showed that real change comes from respect, accountability, and the belief in second chances. By guiding Baldwin and Carter, he didn't just enforce the law, he helped rebuild trust and created a stronger, more honorable community. If you enjoyed this story of justice and transformation, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful tales. We'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the impact of leadership, respect, and second chances. Thanks for watching.